welcome to a Monday, June 17th, right? It's a June, I can't believe it's already June 17th. No, June 18th. Ooh. June 8th, that's what happens when you try to do this show with
sunglasses.
That's
right.
It's on Monday, June 18th, Village in Motion, and I'm still celebrating the big win with our Capitals. I'll be doing it a whole year. So anyway, I'm Diane Gatsis Havinga, your host. I have plenty of water. I have sunglasses because that's going to be our topic for our annual summer health, fitness, and nutrition segment. And before I introduce our old folks, we need to baptize our latest addition to our trio here, Helen Chung, who is our dietitian. You usually see her pretty much over at Garden Ridge, but she does come over on this side of the tracks. And Helen is not stepping in, but she is joined our team after Cindy Underwood decided it was time to do some other things. So we welcome you.
Thank
and
you.
It's appropriate that we're going to be talking about water.
Yes.
So let me introduce, of course, Sheri Nidiffer, who is our wellness, employee health and wellness director and regional, right? Regional director. And the one in the dark glasses, the sun.
Oh my God. The sun.
Juanita from
Our sunshine.
Fitness Center. So welcome, ladies. And I want to get started right away. Of course, I always start with Sheri because she's the health guru.
That's right.
In terms of summer, what is the number one thing that we really should be concerned about?
Well, I did try to sit in number 2 seat, but Juanita wouldn't let me.
No, I said she's number 1.
She wouldn't let me sit in the number 2 seat. You know, I do think safety is the first thing, sun safety, as our lovely son here is, you know, showing her hat and her sunglasses, and she put on her sunscreen this morning, I'm sure. And also this water consumption. You want to watch out for dehydration. Although today is like an absolute gorgeous day outside.
Yes, beautiful.
You can still get dehydrated on days like this. So just watch for that.
Okay. And when you mention safety, is there any other things do we need to be concerned about?
I'm sure that you're leading me into talking about poison ivy and probably tick bites. I think is that how you're leading me there?
Right, and I'm going to guess, just because we've had just a little bit of rain, that mosquitoes are going to be really nasty this summer. So
I'm sure. I haven't heard, but that's always out there.
And they carry a lot of nasty stuff that I tried to not think about. Actually, I saw one the other day on my back door. I mean, that thing was gigantic. And I was like, okay.
That was the drone I sent to you.
Oh, it was like, oh, okay, well, it was buzzing anyway.
Yeah.
But I also understand that besides, what is it, the Rocky, is that from mosquitoes?
The Rocky Mountain spotted fever is the tick.
It's the tick. But so what do mosquitoes give us when they take our blood?
Well, we do have the latest and greatest was the Zika virus that people were a lot, worried about, and we have West Nile virus that's also.
That's the one I was.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything we can do besides smacking those guys when they come by?
Well, I think you can put on some bug spray. I think that's really important. And one of the things to remember is it's really good, especially if you're putting on bug spray, and this works for suntan lotion too, like the spray kind, is that you want to make sure, especially for kids, that you're spraying in your hands and then putting it on instead of spraying the vapors into the kids. So you want to make sure, and even for yourself, it's good to put it on your hands first and then to rub it on your skin. Or you can wear long sleeve. You know, it's harder to go outside with, especially when it's warm, with long sleeve and long pants. But they have some really nice, lighter weighted clothing that you can wear now that is more protective if you're a little bit more sensitive to those types of things.
And
You just mentioned that. I actually found some long sleeve shirts for my son that were like 70% blocking the rays of the sun. So. There is clothing that has that, and you'll find it. You can find it at the sporting goods stores. A lot of the hikers have that kind of clothing, and runners, and Land's End has bathing suits that are long sleeved that cut the sun too.
Right.
So there's quite a bit of clothing out there now.
And does it matter the brand in terms of the bug spray? Does it, can I buy the dime store brand, or do I have to buy the, what is it, Off? Isn't that the
They have
name
to have
brand?
on the back, I believe it's DEET. They have some DEET
long as it
percentages
has
on the
DEET.
back, and
Right.
that's what it has to have. Has to have in it. So it doesn't really matter if it's name brand or not. Although I did hear that Costco, because everybody shops at Costco, that even the Costco brand, their philosophy is if they sell something with their brand name, it has to be as good or better than any other name brand that they have in the store. So you feel very good about buying a Costco brand because that's their philosophy. So that's really nice to know.
Yeah.
And of course you get more for less.
Well, and I did have a staff member that she seems to be a magnet for flies and mosquitoes, and she swears by the Avon, that has DEET in it, of course, but the Avon lotion for bug spray. It's a bug spray. So I'm actually going to get some of that too and give that a try. Because I have a daughter that's a magnet for it too.
So with that, let's also talk about the sun.
The sun? What? Yes?
Who should be our friend, because
Yes.
we need sun. And
We do.
get that vitamin D, right?
Right.
And it makes us just all feel so
Good.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, versus when we had all the rain and you just kind of like, can it end now? Get rid
Right.
of these clouds. So what is it about the sun first in terms of the health aspects? And then we can talk about the negative aspect.
Well, it's the sun. There's nothing but good about the sun, except for if it burns you, of course. But you have the rays that come out there, and they're able to give you that vitamin D. So a lot of things. That's the big. Well, it's probably been about 5 years. The vitamin D's kind of been an issue. We go out with sunscreen on, and we have hats on, and then we're noticing that some people have low vitamin D, and that can lead to. There's some research that says that, some muscle and joint aches and many other things. I don't know if the research is really as solid as it needs to be now on that, but you do need some sun to convert to that vitamin D.
So you can go out for like 15 minutes, Helen,
Right.
without worrying and
Right.
get that important.
And it really also depends on how much clothing you're wearing, because you may be so covered that you're not going to get any, which is why it's important to know if you are deficient or not, and trying to get in a supplement or in other foods.
So you mentioned supplements, and I'll diverge just a little bit. I don't usually do this.
Never.
But now they're coming out that supplements really have no effect. Did you see that study that just came out? And in that, so my question is, okay, so am I supposed to not? I mean, I have cut down on a lot of. I mean, I take very few supplements now, but the one that I do take is I take calcium, which also has the vitamin D, and I started taking, I think it's vitamin B12, because I was just getting a lot of Charlie horses and pulling my muscles, especially when I was swimming. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and that was suggested as a way to combat the crampiness. So
my take on that would be food first. You're going to get the best source from the actual foods. But for some people, depending on their diet or their preferences, you might not get enough. So I would still recommend the supplements. You may not be getting 100% of what you expect to be metabolized into your body, but it's still better than if you had not taken any at all. So it's still beneficial.
So what would be the best source for vitamin D if I don't go out to the, into the sun?
Well, typically your milk products, your fortified milk products are where you get the most. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind besides having to take a supplement.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about the dangers of the sun. So having too much does what to us?
Well, you can get dehydrated. You can have heat stroke. There was actually a show on last night. It was talking about a gentleman who had heat stroke. He was training for a marathon. He ended up in the hospital. A miracle that he's still alive. So heat stroke is a big thing. So that's one of the. We have a quiz coming up later, but one of the questions is, what's the first sign of dehydration, and what would that be?
Thirst.
Thirst. Something so easy. But so often if you're hungry, you show up as being thirsty too. So feed that thirst, or at least with some fluids, is really super important. Because once you're burned, because you get people that come into the office, I'm burned, can you help? I can't do a thing once you're burned. There's nothing I can do. So
can't give me a gel or
there's
something.
well, you can put some aloe on
Aloe.
it, but the skin's, there's nothing. I mean, that's a really bummer part about being burned. There's really no treatment. We can give prednisone for a lot of other things, but not for a burn. Yeah.
And you can always tell people that have sun damage, I think, in terms of their face, and it's more as it shows up, as they age. Some of the, you see some of the celebrities, and I look at them and I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what have you done?
It doesn't have to be a celebrity. When we were little, we lived by the Missouri River, and we were covered with our T-shirts and stuff, but actually my mother more than once called the doctor about me. I couldn't get out of a oatmeal bath. I was burned so bad.
Oh, wow.
So I had second-degree burns. I blistered, I peeled, it was awful. And I think back then, Mom put stuff on us, but it wasn't sunscreen. Sunscreen wasn't really invented yet. So though we slathered on, we still got burned. And yeah, sun damage, yeah, sure. I think most of us have it if we enjoyed the sun at all and lived by the lake or a beach, so it's tough.
And it's cumulative.
It's cumulative.
So you don't get a sunburn and go to the doctor and say, oh yeah, that's skin cancer. That's not how that happens.
No.
It's over time. And there is an increased risk if you were younger and had a really bad burn. That does increase your chance of having that skin cancer later. So it is.
Out of 6 children, both my brothers have had malignant melanoma. Removed, they lived past the 6 months. I mean, they're doing fine, one of them. So, but that's how much we were in the sun. If you're from the Midwest, when the sun came out, you were in it. So those of us that lived in the upper Midwest, South Dakota, North Dakota, when it was out, you were out in it. And because of it was a seasonal disorder. I mean, it's so dark, so long. So a lot of us.
So you're wearing this particular outfit for a reason.
It's a reason.
So
I was
tell us-
totally damaged by the sun. However, I love the sun. And, for some of us that do have skin conditions, which I do, I have psoriasis, the dermatologist said, you need a prescription for the beach. You need to be in salt water and you need sunshine.
And you need friends to go with
And
you.
I need friends to go with me. Let's go.
Let's go.
So you do need it. It is important for your skin. You just, as Sheri has said, and we all know, we can't overdo it. So my sunshine should be after 4. Honestly, after 4 o'clock. And before 10 in the morning.
So if I want to go out and get my vitamin D naturally, then take my walk, and I don't need the hat that Juanita has.
You always
Yeah,
can
you always
wear
can wear a hat.
You can wear
Maybe
a
don't
hat.
put it on our legs. No sunscreen on our legs, or maybe our arms after 4.
So we can, but I also heard sunglasses to protect the eyes,
Fabulous.
Very
you
important.
get the sun also ricocheted off the ground. So you can have your hat on, but if you're looking at the ground, you're also going to get that sun off the ground. And especially like if you're in the sand, off the beach.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching, you obviously like sports teams. So if you're, watching the Nationals, that sun coming off the infield is horrible. So the glasses are really important.
And again, that doesn't show up until
Till
later
much
too,
later.
in the form of macular degeneration.
You can't just buy sunglasses. There should be something in these lenses, right? The
UVA and UVB protectors.
which is, I think, a few years ago there was a big, controversy about sunglasses not having them, but they're pretty much, even this thing did not cost me a lot of money, so you don't have to pay a lot of money to get that protection,
No,
right?
but it's so important.
It's so important.
Okay, so, and then a hat is good because it covers the eyes too and protects your hair.
And she looks cute.
And she
It
does
matches my costume, so there you go.
So I'm going to kind of pause with the fitness because I want to get over and talk about hydration because it does
I
fit
agree.
into with the health and exercise and things. So I think, Helen, why don't we start with this quiz? Because I thought the quiz was quite interesting. And
good
it's
quiz.
from the WebMD site, which for me is one of the better health sites to use if you're looking for information. So, and they send me things all the time. And this one caught my eye, and I went, oh, perfect timing.
Perfect.
So we're going to actually take the quiz. We're going to put it up on the screen, and we're going to try to answer the questions. And we may or may not be correct, which is okay. So the first question is, how much of their water do people typically get from food? Is that the first question? No, that's not the first question.
I didn't
Excuse
put them
me,
all in
they're
there.
not.
I was picky and choosy.
You were picky. All right, then let me
How
ask.
much do you know about hydration? So
Okay.
the first question's hard to read.
Okay, so
You should drink.
how much should you drink? Should you drink at least 8 glasses of water per day? True or false?
True.
I know the quiz.
You know the quiz. So we're going to say true, and the answer is incorrect, which is,
Right.
I thought, quite interesting, Sheri, because it says there's no evidence.
There's no true evidence about it. So I think that talks about 91 ounces for a woman, about 125 ounces for a man. But if you really do that out, it's about 8 to 10 glasses. And hydration does, I can't give that away. There's another question on that. But
There is another question, which I think when that comes up, there is
We'll
a
talk.
formulation for drinking your body, according to your body size, how much, your body weight, how much you should be drinking. That's coming up.
Okay. So the next question is, how much of their water do people typically get from food? And it has percentages anywhere from 5% to 50%. So Helen, what do you think? 5, 10, 20, 50%?
I'm going to say 10.
10%. Let's put in 10 and see what we got. And it's incorrect. The correct answer
20.
is 20%.
20.
Out.
So, and we're talking about food such as bananas, we're talking about broccoli, which has a lot of water.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they were saying. An apple has 84% water.
Love
A
it.
banana is 74%. Broccoli is 91% water.
So I don't have to take my fluid from a glass, per
Right.
se. I can eat it.
Right.
Which
As
is
Helen
great.
was saying, food
First.
All right, cool. Okay, next, let's see, where are we next? Exercise. Now here's one for
Okay,
Juanita.
all righty.
Exercise in hot, humid conditions can make you dehydrated in as little as 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours.
30.
30 minutes, let's say, and she is. That's why she's our wellness
There you go.
coordinator here. And it doesn't take long. Now, does it matter the weather conditions in terms
Yes.
of?
The more
Okay.
hot and humid it is, the faster you'll dehydrate.
All right, so on those really hot, humid days, it probably would
Just
take less
stay
than.
inside. Just stay inside. And we're so lucky here, our residents can walk the halls here.
All
And we have a
right,
fitness center.
let's go. Next is while exercising, most people should break for water every either 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, or an hour.
20.
20?
She's not even cheating.
Okay, she's correct. So while you're exercising, have that water bottle next to you.
Always
or-
have water bottle. I just
another-
carry a water bottle with you.
Okay. All right.
It's
let's-
also helpful to drink 2 cups of water, like an hour or so before you exercise. Hour and a half to 2 hours before
Oh,
you exercise.
so
So
if I'm-
before you come to the gym, drink some water.
Prehydrate.
All right.
Prehydrate, that's right.
And then during and after. Okay, next. Which of the following drinks is the most dehydrating? Alcohol, coffee, or sugar-sweetened pop? I'm from the Midwest,
Yes.
excuse me.
I know what that
Helen?
is. Do you know, Helen?
I'm going to say
Don't say it.
Don't say it. It is alcohol, though. It is. Bummer.
So that cold beer, I shouldn't be hydrating on that hot day with a
Oh,
nice
gosh.
cold beer? No? Okay, darn it. Because alcohol beverages have the most dehydrating effect. Coffee and other caffeinated drinks can make you go to the bathroom more. But overall, they're hydrating because of their water content, which I thought was interesting, Helen, because I always was told coffee and tea did the opposite, did not hydrate.
The coffee, no, because they are caffeinated.
All right, so I think we have a few more for our quiz.
Okay.
The amount of fluid you need to stay perfectly hydrated depends on your age, your health, the weather, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Okay, so that
And-
gets back to
and-
what Juanita was talking about.
Here's the thing. They were talking about how much water, roughly they were saying, what, 125 for men
125,
ounces and 91 or something for women. But actually, it's all depends on your size.
Right.
Each of us are going to be different. The estimate really is half of your body weight in ounces of water. So if I did that, 91 is more than I need unless I'm exercising. So this is just for normal living. So if I start exercising, I'm going to need more than my 62. But I'm not going to need 91 just to sit around all day. But if I start exercising, I may go up to that, perhaps even more. And again, it depends on the weather and how hard you're working out. Again, how much you're sweating.
So Helen, could I do that at like Juanita had mentioned earlier, that I should be drinking before I exercise. So can I do all my fluids like in the morning and be done with it, or?
Well, it's probably not the best idea. It probably still would be a good idea to spread out your fluids. But I know, there are some people that have concerns with the time of day that they may take some beverages, especially with this population having a lot of beverages in the evening and the concern of having to get up frequently during the night. So, certainly I don't recommend that you get it all in the morning, but you don't necessarily have to spread it out to right before you go to sleep.
Great. Okay, and a few more, and then we'll get to our demonstration. How much water does the average adult lose every day naturally? So it's a cup, 2 cups, 5 cups, or 10 cups. So, any thoughts?
I first answered this as 2 cups.
I think 5.
Just to be honest.
Okay, I'm thinking 5.
I'm thinking
Pick,
5 also.
pick 5 then. Let's
Okay,
go
let's
ahead.
do it 5.
Let's do 5 and see. And we're
It's
incorrect.
10.
It's 10.
You lose
Oh boy,
10.
that's a
So much
lot.
more.
That is, and that's just living by breathing, sweating, urinating, and usually eating and drinking will make up for it. So if you're not eating and drinking, that's why you feel pretty bad, I think.
You don't feel
All
good.
right, next. You may be dehydrated if your urine looks like this. Now, this is a mom's. If
Yes.
your moms don't get this, and it's either does it look like water, lemonade, concentrated apple juice, or grapefruit juice.
The darker, the worse.
Right.
So it's the apple.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you see your urine turning that yellow cloudy, you are probably
Not drinking enough.
not drinking enough and maybe headed into a very bad situation.
Right.
When my son was running on his sports teams, they would always, before the race, they would always have a little competition, and it would be, you hear them go, clear, 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 clear. That meant they were hydrated.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I
that's
like
good.
that.
That is
And
very
if
good.
you're a runner in college, like my brother was, they weighed you because they wanted to know how much fluid you're losing too. That's how much you had to keep drinking.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Now Helen comes to your part.
Yes.
She's going to carefully get it down off her stool gracefully. And Helen has brought over a bunch of different types of fluids, I'm going to call them.
Right, and so, and just to tack onto what Juanita was mentioning about how we all have different amounts, and especially in our population, there's also different comorbidities that may affect how much we need.
What was that word?
Comorbidities, other reasons, other diagnoses that we may have that limit or make us require more fluid.
So medicines, I'm
Right.
thinking.
Medicines or
A
certain.
disease process,
Right.
diabetes, or
Right.
Ah, okay.
Exactly.
So if I have any kind of kidney type disease, diabetes, that's going to affect my water intake?
Right. If you have congestive heart failure, you may be someone that has to limit your fluid intake. So that all has to be part of the picture before you start just hauling off and having, all kinds of water.
And doesn't like Coumadin, which a lot of our residents take, that has a tendency to help you or not to retain fluids? Is that? Or
Well, I think it really before we would give any kind of advice on one particular medicine or one particular disease process, it's best to say if you're concerned about what fluid you should have and how much you should have, please speak to your provider, because there's so many things. If you're on Coumadin, there's probably some other health issues that need to be taken into effect. So, always good to talk to the provider first.
Right.
So, having said that,
So, just from my years of experience and a lot of people that I've worked with over the years, it's funny. It's what works best for people, whether it's sweetened, whether it's salty, whether it's bubbly. It really depends on, what your preference is. And that's what we really push in order to make sure that you are drinking enough. You want to cater to what you think you'll do best with, because if you're not a fruity person, I'm not going to push on a whole lot of fruit flavored drinks on you. So there's a lot of alternatives these days. You go to the store and you see walls of different drinks and beverages. So I picked a couple to show and sample with you all to see what you can share with our audience.
oh, sounds great.
So the first one I have right here is actually our own Green Spring fruited water. And we have this that we offer at the Garden Ridge building, and we also offer it at Potomac Cafe. And we have, this one I brought today is a strawberry kiwi flavor. It is a flavored water that is sugar-free.
Okay.
I like the color. It looks
It's
almost
pretty.
like I'm drinking a rosé.
It matches my
And it
blouse
has-
today.
It does.
So what do you think?
Well,
I
to
like
me,
it.
Good.
it's a little too sweet because I like my, so I would cut that with regular water.
Right, and that's exactly what I would recommend. If you feel like it's too sweet, but you still want a little bit of that taste, just add some water.
And I do that also with the lemonade here, or any kind of when they have that fruit punch. I may fill the glass maybe fourth, and then the rest with water, and
Right. Right.
it takes away
a good
that
idea.
really.
Right, and the lemonade, the fruited water, they're all sugar-free here. So they do use a sugar substitute. So I know that flavor isn't always for everybody.
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit of
Okay.
that.
And what else do you have in the
So next I have,
Carafe.
this is my favorite actually. So I brought my little
yum.
carafe and I filled up, and really you can fill it up with whatever you have in your refrigerator, even whatever you pick up from the dining room, from the salad bar at Potomac Cafe. I have cucumbers, I have lemon, and I have some watermelon. And it's great, you just put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours. Mine doesn't even take 30 minutes before I've already got a flavor that I like from the water. And you can drink that, it's naturally flavored, there's no sweeteners, there's no sodium, just good old-fashioned flavored water.
That's awesome.
Which is why I always like to order my water with lemon, and I like to squeeze, because it really does give you that
It
lemon.
really, I do definitely drink a lot more if I have a little bit of flavor in my water.
All right, and that's easy to do, and it's inexpensive.
Exactly.
All right, and next,
Next I have, this is one, that's one of the multi-brands that they have out there, and it's called Hint, and this is a crisp apple flavor. Some things that you might also be looking at is some of these flavored waters have sodium in them. So if you don't want sodium, definitely read the label. See how much sodium might be in them. This one in particular has no calories, no sodium, has nothing in it, just the flavor. So, and this
Now-
is a crisp apple.
isn't sodium important when we are dehydrated? So
It
with
can
that,
be, but you also, especially when you're trying to rehydrate, but if you're just drinking to be drinking, you don't necessarily always need to have all that extra sodium.
okay,
Smells good.
Oh, I like
okay,
that.
yeah, that has like no sweetness at all. Nice. Okay.
Right? So if you don't like the sweet, it's a good alternative.
It's a great.
Right?
That's
Yum.
good.
And
So, next I have, and this is an interesting one, I've come across many people who have a hard time getting enough protein in. And this is another good way, if you don't feel like having, a chunk of beef or chicken, this is another way that you can get some protein, and it's this one in particular has 7 grams, which is the equivalent of 1 ounce of meat.
Wow.
They have this in different flavors. It is also sugar-free, but they have this brand, and I've also seen Kellogg that also has a brand of flavored water that has protein in it. So if you're not looking for all the calories and the heaviness compared to, let's say, something like Ensure or Boost, this is another alternative for something light.
That'd be
That's
nice
good
for
to
summer.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good to know.
So if you like the bubbly,
I do
speaking
like
of bubbly,
Yes.
this is also a flavored seltzer called Bubbly, and I've had, I brought the grapefruit flavor today, but this is also, you know, I found it to be not sweet, but more scented than it was flavored. For some people, if you like the scent but don't necessarily want all the flavor, this is a good alternative also.
Yeah, and it's amazing how popular those drinks now have become, because everyone's getting in on the bandwagon, and
Yep.
you can, you know, buy them all over the place in several varieties.
Exactly. Any
They're a
grocery store.
much better choice than the sodas.
Right, right. You
Yeah.
want that bubbly, but not all the calories and the sugar from the sodas.
I think you have one left, right, Helen?
I have 2 actually.
left,
I've got
okay.
a giant brand of seltzer, and this is a flavored one. It's raspberry lime, a little bit of bubbly,
Okay.
and this also has
Thank you.
just about 5 milligrams of sodium, and that's all it has in it.
Wow.
For the whole container?
Per serving.
serving,
Per serving.
Per
Okay.
serving.
Now that doesn't
Yes.
have the smell, but it's got
Right.
a great
And what I
taste.
like about the little bit of the carbonated ones, it just seems to give you kind of an extra kick, you know, when you, you know, especially like on Saturdays when I'm working in the house or in the yard, and boy, if I can grab one of these, it really seems to be refreshing.
Right, right.
So, all right.
Oh, so the last one I have is, they also have it, if you don't want something that's big and bulky to carry around with you, they have these little bottles, and they also have them in packets. You can just carry it around in your purse. It's very easy to carry around, and all you need to do, this one is a liquid concentrated one, and if you've got your water bottle in hand, or even if you're at a restaurant or at a friend's house, all you need to do is just take some, squirt it into the cup, and you can just stir,
It's
and
magic.
It's magic.
instant flavored water.
Wow.
And it didn't even explode.
My daughter took one of those with her when she went to Thailand as, I think, a way to, you know, stay hydrated and use on her trip. So, pretty
Fabulous.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think, I know we're out of time, so we're going to, we'll let Sheri, and we'll go across since Helen's been talking. One thing you want us to be thinking about for the summer?
So one thing we didn't talk about, but I'm going to say it real quick, is disconnect. Disconnect from your cell phones, disconnect from the selfies, just enjoy. It's so nice to come here. We've been here a half an hour, a little bit more. None of us have our phones out. We've been totally able to engage. I would have loved to take a picture, but it's okay because you really get that. So just disconnect. That will really help your summer out.
Good point.
I guess, you know me, I would say you're going to feel better if you exercise. And you know, again, we mentioned the weather. Try to do it earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon. Try the water. It's so refreshing. The water is a wonderful place to be in the summer. And here we have our own. It's covered. It's wonderful. So I would say exercise. Stay hydrated though, but exercise. in the
Drink
morning.
it and
Drink it and be in it.
exercise
That's right. That's exactly right.
And Helen?
And for me, I would say definitely make an effort to try to get enough of those fluids. And if you don't know how much exactly you should have, I'm here. Mary, our other dietitian, is here. Please give us a call. Ask us. We can let you know how much you need. And if you don't know how much you've had in a day, these are great bottles that you can keep track of how much you're drinking so that you know how much
Yeah.
you're having.
I think this is wonderful, and I welcome once again Helen. I think you're a great addition to our team.
We'll
and I
keep you. Yes, exactly.
we look forward to more productions like this. And the next one, can you believe we'll be talking about what to do for the holidays? But we have lots of time before that.
Wow.
So we-